In this video, I will demonstrate the WebSense Triton AP Email Cloud Advanced Email Encryption feature. The Advanced Email Encryption feature is designed to provide companies a secure way to communicate sensitive data over email channels to any email address on the internet, not just within their email domain. Now, with most things with email, there's a lot of prerequisites to get things set up, and that's true of advanced email encryption as well. I won't demonstrate those because that requires changing MX records and setting up email routing appropriately. But so you can get an idea of what the prerequisites are, I recommend you go to the WebSense support documents and do a little bit of research. And that's best done from going to websense.com and then clicking on the support portal link. From here, we can search for advanced email encryption and then press the search bar. And we can drill down to find the exact product we're talking about, which is email security. And since we're talking about the cloud advanced email encryption, we'll go ahead and click that. And then we can see a link here to advanced encryption as part of Triton AP Email Cloud. So if we click on that, we get a lot of information about Triton AP Email's advanced encryption or email encryption, how to set up a rule, etc. But what's important here is this prerequisites for advanced encryption. Read over these bullet points carefully. There's a lot of requirements for how TLS is handled. It needs to be from a trusted CA. The FQDN must resolve the sending IP address. Basically, WebSense wants to ensure that the communication between the email cloud service that's doing the encryption and the actual email servers is fully secure and verifiable. Otherwise, what's the point of having encryption if you have a weak link somewhere in the chain? It does mention here that the certificate issued, it must be issued by a certificate authority or supported certificate authority, and that you can search for that list by typing this in. If you just copy and paste that into the support bar, a document will come up. I've already opened that for the sake of time, and you can click here and you can see the trusted third-party CAs. So it's a pretty long list, but it must be one of these because to activate advanced email encryption, WebSense checks all of these, all those prerequisites on the previous page, as well as that the TLS certificate is signed by one of these CAs. So with that said, we'll go ahead and log into the Triton AP Cloud Manager and set up advanced email encryption. So when I log in, I'm brought to the dashboard, which we won't go over as that's covered in other videos. But we're going to go over into the email feature area and go into policy management. And I have this bvlabs.net policy. And this is where I'm going to be doing email encryption. Connections is where you're going to set up everything, and then I'm using Google Apps for Business, and that does have a trusted CA from that list. It does support fully all the TLS requirements, which in this particular case is the Verify plus CN type, but we won't go over that because that's covered in the earlier document. What we will do is go over to the Encryption tab, which is where advanced email encryption is configured. I currently don't have anything configured now, so what we're going to do is go ahead and create some rules, and that's done under this encryption area here. And it's worth noting that you can create a lot of different rules, so you can have multiple rules, and then depending on sender or recipient or something that's in the subject matter. We'll cover a lot of those in this demonstration today. So we're going to go ahead and add a rule. Now there is standard encryption, which is included in the AP Email Cloud suite, but the advanced encryption is an add-on module that gives you a lot more functionality, and it also allows the recipients to respond securely. So if you want to send information securely to somebody on another network or on Gmail or Hotmail or whatever, imagine a doctor sending information down to a patient. More than likely, you'd like that recipient, or in the patient example, that patient to be able to respond securely as well. And that's something that advanced encryption provides. So everything we're going to talk about today is in the advanced encryption realm. So what we'll do is we'll create a rule. I'll just call this encrypt all Gmail. So I'm going to create a very simple rule that basically says any email sent to a Gmail address is going to be automatically encrypted with advanced encryption. This is just for examples, but you kind of get the idea. media. You can have all sorts of different options here. What we're going to do is basically say from all senders to gmail.com, we're going to go ahead and encrypt it. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck everything else because the only requirement is going to be gmail.com. And I'm going to go ahead and click submit, and that'll put that rule into effect. So now we have this rule here. We can add other rules too for different domains or for different senders and recipients, or as you'll see later, subject bars. So what I'm going to do here is I already have my personal Gmail account email here, which is what we're going to send to. And then I have over in Internet Explorer, I'm actually logged into the brian@bblabs.net Google for Business account. And this is the one that is actually, this email domain here, bblabs.net, is fully configured with the AP email cloud service. It has, MX records are pointing to the Triton AP email cloud service, and then it's forwarding to Google for Business, and then sending route is going out from here to the Triton AP email cloud service to get the encryption done, and then sent out to the internet encrypted, all with those trusted TLS connections. So what I'm going to do now is compose a new email, and I'm going to send it from this BB Labs account to my personal Gmail account, and I'm just going to make a very basic message. And because this is a rule for everything going to a Gmail, it'll just encrypt automatically. So I'll switch over now to my personal Gmail, and we'll press refresh, and you can see I sent myself a message. And when I click on it, I get this this message here, and it says this is a secure encrypted message. To open it, you go ahead and do this, and we have this attachment down here, which will just open up a new tab or new browser window, and it'll say to read this message, click here. So when we press read message, it's going to ask us, well, I've already logged in, but I'll go ahead and sign out and show that again. But it does show that if you've already logged in on this computer, you won't always have to type your password in. But if I press read message now, it's going to ask me to enter my password. It's worth noting that the first time a recipient, in this case bvarenkoff@gmail.com, receives a secure message, they'll be asked to create a password, and then they won't be asked that again. They'll just be brought to this prompt, and they can type in their password and sign in. Again, this is all over HTTPS. So now we're no longer relying on the unknown email connections to communicate. Now all the communication, regardless of servers or devices connecting, is protected over this secure HTTPS channel. And then they see the email here. So you can see it was from me, it was authenticated, it's valid, and you can see, hello, how are you today? And as I said, again, the advanced email encryption allows this recipient now to reply to, back to the sender. So I can go ahead and press reply here. Again, this is, the unknown mail recipient. And if I press send, and it's worth noting, now I can send, more secure messages, but because this is the recipient and it's not, not a user of the domain, bblabs.net, they're only allowed to send secure messages to bblabs.net. They can't now send a secure message to their friend on Hotmail. So you can see over here, it's already refreshed. The actual user experience on the bblabs.net side, or the side that has email encryption, is it automatically gets decrypted and brought back to their email. So you can see here I'm doing fine, and this little footer here kind of explains what I was just talking about, but this message has been automatically decrypted by WebSense. So from the end user standpoint, on the side that has advanced email encryption, they don't have to go into websites and log in. They don't have to worry about passwords. Their email workflow is basically transparent. When the recipient replies back, or to the doctor, for example, it just shows up in the inbox just like regular email. So very, very convenient. I'm going to go ahead and delete that now, and I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. We'll sort of close out of this, and I'll delete this, and we'll create another rule, because that's sort of a basic rule, sort of just encrypting everything to a particular domain. If a user wants to kind of encrypt, on their own, or decide when they want to encrypt, we'll go ahead and create a new advanced encryption rule, and I'll just call it bracket encrypt. And I'm going to leave basically all these senders open, so that's basically, you know, catch-all for everything. And I'm going to say if I put this phrase, sorry, typo there. If I put this bracket encrypt into the subject line and send it to anybody, it will go ahead and encrypt. So I'm going to press that as submit. And now I have two rules, so it does show that we support multiple rules. Since I am going to continue to use Gmail for the example, I'm going to go ahead and delete this other rule, so we're no longer, you know, encrypting everything to Gmail, because then it doesn't really show that the other one is working. So now I just have this one rule in here. So if I compose a new message, I'll send it again to my personal account here, and I put this in the message bar. Testing AEE, advanced email encryption. You know, this is something that you would intentionally maybe want to send to somebody, like a password or very sensitive information. You want to ensure that that's encrypted. We can go ahead and put that bracket in there, allowing the user to self-encrypt. We'll go ahead and press send, and I'll switch over back here, and we'll wait for that email to come in. And there it is. Again, so this is a secure message. We'll do what we did before. Not going to ask me for my password because I still have the browser open and we're still logged in. But again, here we have the password is 12345. I've already shown that you can reply to that. But now that we've shown two types of rules, one where we're allowing the user to put some tag in the subject to go ahead and send that securely. And I'll go ahead and click on that again, because we can also rely on information that's in the header or something that's in the body. So if you have a default signature for certain users, you can put something in that signature to automatically encrypt, or a user could just put encrypt anywhere in there. Although, you know, then if somebody just used the word encrypt unintentionally, it would encrypt that. So you do have those other options. And then the one last thing we can do with advanced email encryption is sort of set up rules based on content. I'm going to back out again here, so we're in the encryption tab here. That's actually going to be set up as part of the content filter rules. So if you're using encryption, you'll have other options available in your content filter. So what I'm going to do is go over here and go into content filter, and we can see this is where we'll manage, you know, how big of attachments we can support, etc. But we're going to go ahead and go into this content filtering using these lexical rules, because these are going to be kind of text-based things, and we have all of these rules here. Now, a lot of these will also be used to quarantine things, and some of the examples I give right now, especially around PCI and predefined policies, are probably things you're better off quarantining than encrypting. But since this is an encryption demo, we'll focus on encryption. So you basically have these three rules: add a simple rule, an advanced rule, and a predefined compliance. We'll demonstrate the predefined compliance, but I'll go ahead and show you what the simple rule is, because this is actually exactly what it says, a very simple rule. So when I click on that, we'll just call it simple rule. I'm actually not going to deploy this, so I don't really need to type these. But under this action, we have a rule basis that says, you know, do we quarantine a message when it hits this simple rule? Do we forward it to somebody? Do we BCC somebody? Do we keep a copy on the server? Or obviously in this case, do we encrypt? If I select encrypt, again, we get sort of similar rules that we had in the encryption realm, but the important one here now is phrases, and we can look in message headers, which would be phrases in the in the to from subject line, or anywhere in the whole message of the body. So maybe here you could put, you know, if you had a project code name like project X, and you didn't want anybody sending that out, you could go up here and I'd probably quarantine it realistically. But if you put encrypt there, and you put that rule into play. Sorry, I didn't put a description. I didn't fill out the rest of the forms here, but we won't go ahead and apply this just for the sake of time. But you get an idea of how a simple rule works. The advanced rules give you quite a bit more value add. So maybe we'll create a gambling rule. Maybe gambling's a problem in your organization. And basically what we have here is predefined dictionaries provided by WebSense for kind of hot topics, adults, and if I click on that, there's 276 phrases in this predefined dictionary. Alcohol, tobacco, drugs has 182. There's a bunch of compliance ones here, so anything related to payment and credit cards, medical procedures, finance, personal identifying information, anything that has words like top secret, confidential. There's finance terms, just depending on sort of the business that you're in, that might be relevant. Job search, obviously, I don't think you would encrypt those messages, but you probably quarantine them. Gambling, again, be something that you would will use for that. There's 47 phrases in here, poker, craps, Vegas, casino, who knows what they are. They're predefined. And again, you can apply this to certain domains or certain users. If you click this, you can see your Active Directory groups, so you can apply it to all users, and then create excludes and everything like that. The action is set up in the next step, so I will press submit here. And then here we have our action. So if we press add, and you can create multiple actions here, but here we have quarantine, which is probably what you would do in a gambling realm, but again, we're talking about encrypt, so we'll type encrypt here. Options to notify. This shows sort of how the threshold works. So the average phrase score is 1.6, which is the recommended default, but you can change that. And 0.5 will trap messages containing any one of those, I think, 47 phrases, where the 1.6 default will trap messages containing higher priority phrases or several lower scored ones. Maybe there's a reason you'd want to write casino in an email because it's the name of a local restaurant or something. You don't want to obviously block or encrypt that. So that's why you wouldn't want to go down here necessarily. But 1.6 would look at put a lower weight on that and look for a lot of references and block or encrypt accordingly. So if we save that, now we'll have the rule in play. And then if I basically send an email that has a lot of gambling content in it, we'll go ahead and encrypt that. Finally, I'll show, and this is the one I'll demonstrate, is the predefined compliance, which is really simple here. Here we have a predefined compliance for PCI, which is payment card industry, and then we have one for Social Security numbers. So I'll do PCI because I already have this credit card file on my desktop, which I'm going to go ahead and send. And if I just press OK here, it's going to go ahead and add that in. Now we are going to want to edit that if it's an encryption related item. In this case, the action is just to keep a copy of it. We're going to go ahead and change keep copy by clicking on it to encrypt. We'll use the standard dictionary threshold, which is explained here. We'll go ahead and press save, and now we have that rule in place. So what I'm going to do now is send myself check is just to make sure email in, and we're not going to use encrypt, like I said. Gmail catch-all and we're going to so we still have encrypt send this payment kind of credit card receipt. We have our lexical rule, which has so I'm not going to use the encrypt, and that'll trigger that PCI rule, which is designed to encrypt. And again, that can be designed to quarantine as well, or drop, which is maybe what you would want to do in a pure PCI compliance. But maybe you do want to send receipts securely. So what we're going to do is attach this credit card receipt, and I'll show you what it looks like, what's in that file on the recipient side. So I'm going to go ahead and press send on that. That's gone ahead and sent. We're going to go over here. I'll close these cookie crumbs from earlier. We've got this new email, and it says, here's your receipt. This is secure. Go ahead and click on that. Go ahead and press read this message. Be sent over here, and now I can see that this was attached, a credit card receipt. I can download it, or since it's text, I can just view it. You can see, again, this is all just fictitious information, but this is information that would definitely trigger a PCI compliance related issue. But at least you could prove that it was communicated securely, and the recipient would be able to respond and say, I didn't authorize that amount, and send that back, and then somebody over in the BB Labs company would get that email and maybe get on the phone, but you're not having this back and forth in an unsecured fashion. And there's the I didn't authorize, and again, automatically decrypted. And one last thing I'll show, just to show again that this doesn't apply. Again, now that I only have the encrypt bracket and the PCI rule, it it can be configured to just only work on those certain rules. So if I send just a test email, you can see this one is not encrypted. And that more or less covers WebSense's advanced email encryption for the cloud feature. Thank you for watching this video. It's worth noting that now I have an HTTPS connection, so basically the entire email communication from here is going to be protected in a cloud-based HTTPS session. So we're no longer relying on the unknown email of the recipient. So now we're no longer relying on the unknown email connections to communicate. Now all the communication, regardless of servers or devices connecting, is protected over this secure HTTPS channel.